Welcome. It's Tuesday at 12, and this is Aperture and Shutter Speed, the photography radio show where you can learn and share your love for photography. I am your host, Chelsea Williams. I'm a professional portrait photographer in Conroe. If you have any questions or comments during the show, post them on Aperture and Shutter Speed's Facebook page. Today I'm going to be talking to Connor Fuller, who is a portrait photographer in Kirbyville, Texas, and he's going to be teaching a workshop at PhotoGenesis this year all about weapons and photographing weapons. It's so unique. Before we jump into that, I'm just going to go over some things going on that anybody could get involved in locally. The Woodlands Camera Club is having the Fine Art of Seeing on September 11th from 2 to 4. And this time, as you know, the special interest group Fine Art of Seeing, they discuss different things every time. This time they're going over curves as a design element. So if you're interested in learning how to design your pictures, check that out. And on the 15th is their Learning to Shoot special interest group. You can see their full calendar at thewoodlandscameraclub.org. The Woodlands Photography Club is having a club meeting on September 12th from 6:45 to 8:30, and you can see their calendar at woodlandsphoto.org. PPGH, which is the Houston Photography Guild, on September 8th at 1 p.m., they're having Allison Corlino in Richmond, Texas, and on September 10th, this Saturday at 9 a.m. is Working with Children, and they're also going to be doing Principles of an Executive Headshot. So I don't know if that's working with children in the morning and headshots in the afternoon, but you can find more on their website. And also on September 20th is just the general club meeting and election. If anybody was interested in going as a guest for the first time and just checking out what it's all about, they're going to have a speaker, and it's going to be the Art and Soul of Gail Nogel. So just ppgh.org if you were interested in any of those, checking out. They also have some really cool workshops coming up in October, so just go to their website and see what you might be interested in. So I always ask, what pictures have you been taking lately? I am actually interested. I want to see some pictures on Facebook. So post them on the Aperture and Shutter Speed page, or tell us if you've got a funny story of some pictures that you've been doing. I want to hear about it. So this past week I was in Montgomery doing some headshots, and a lot of times I like to shoot at Memory Park because, I mean, it's just beautifully landscaped and it's right there next to Fernland Park. I mean, you can't go wrong. There's gorgeous lighting, so many different places. So I walked a little bit further along than sometimes I usually do because I kind of stick to my certain spots sometimes. And there's this beautiful, gorgeous butterfly bench. And I don't know how long it's been there, but it was absolutely beautiful. So, you know, I had my client kind of sit down, and I didn't know really what I was going for, but I just wanted to give it a shot. And, you know, I think if you really tried, you could make it look like somebody had gigantic butterfly wings just sitting in that bench. It was beautiful. And they also added a new little bridge that goes from I don't know if anybody knows, but there's like this beautiful little tree there that you see people sitting in all the time. But there's a bridge that goes from right over there to this tiny little island, and it's brand new. I don't know how long it's been there, but obviously the concrete on it was pretty new. And man, I saw just tons of people out there working on landscaping, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, okay, even if you're not taking pictures, just let your kids go out there and run around, or just walk your pets out there. It's a beautiful place to be. But I know, you know, most photographers know that place. In the springtime, you can't throw a rock without hitting a photographer out there. Anyway, so that's kind of what I was doing this week. It's out at Memory Park. Another thing that kind of happened this past week, and I just thought it was something cool I was going to talk about. So one night I got an email from my lab about a photo contest they were sponsoring. And, you know, it was, you could win a camera, or I don't know what it was, but I'm okay, sure. What the heck? So I clicked on it, and it actually brought me to a third-party site. And so I went ahead and I entered the contest, and then I started looking around the website, and it's ViewBug. And it's a whole website created for photo contests. And I think if I'd seen the website independently from my lab suggesting it, I would have maybe disregarded it a little bit. But the fact that my lab had something on there gave it a little more credibility. And I started looking around, and there was a lot of really cool photo contests. So there was about 30 contests that you could enter for free. And it had different things, like you could win gear, you could win lighting, you could win, some of them just had cash to do with what you wanted, and they were sponsored by different companies. One of them was, oh gosh, somebody's gonna shoot me if I don't get it right, North American Nature Photographers Association or something like that, and it was for a membership. You could win a membership. So I didn't enter all of them. I entered a few of them. I entered like the night photography, and I think I did enter the nature one. But it was neat looking around, and, but then they also had where you could buy a subscription to their website, and there's like millions more contests that you could enter, and I think that's a little much. I don't think I would ever buy a subscription to enter contests, but hey, maybe it pays off for some people. Their claim on their website was, that as you share your photography and get feedback and see if people like it or don't like it, that, you grow as a photographer. I don't know how much that's true, because I don't know if you can trust general public. But it was definitely just something for fun. If you just wanted to, hey, sign up for a free photo contest and maybe you'll win a camera or something. So it was viewbug.com and /photo contests. And I don't know. Maybe I'll get a free extra camera on top of the many that I have. So if anybody enters that and they win something, definitely let us know. That would be very cool. Other than that, if y'all been taking pictures or anything, let us know. Here in a few minutes, we will be talking to Connor Fuller on the phone, and he's going to tell us all about his workshops that he's going to be doing at PhotoGenesis about photographing weapons. So that should be interesting. You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed.
Hi, this is BJ Orner from Montgomery County Performing Arts Society. I'm here to remind you to get your tickets now for all the upcoming events that McPass has to offer. All shows will be held at the beautiful Crichton Theater in downtown Conroe. Call 936-441-7469 for your tickets today, or go to our website, www.mcpass.org, for more information. Hope to see you at the show.
If you are looking to start a career, you can start your professional life in the U.S. Army. I am Staff Sergeant Stephen Jackson. My fellow soldiers and I can talk with you about learning high-tech skills in electronics and computers as a soldier. Interested in the medical field? The Army has skilled medical and dental jobs that set you up for future success. Come visit us at 2109 West Davis Street, directly behind the Whataburger on Highway 105. Or give us a call at 936-756-7002.
Hello, I'm Bonita DeRosa, Animal Control Officer for the City of Willis. We invite you to tune in to Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. for the Willis Hour. On the first Thursday of the month, the Willis Hour will be covering upcoming events and news about the city. Join in the conversation with your city officials and other leaders in the community. On the third, we will be doing a recap of the last City Council meeting. The mission of the City of Willis is to provide high-quality services, accountability, and professional commitment to our citizens. We pledge to provide those who live, work, and visit our city an effective government that is open and responsive to the needs and values of the community. Again, we invite you to tune in on Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 for the Willis Hour.
Want to check out the fastest growing sport in the world? It's right here in Conroe, Texas, and it's roller derby. Conroe Roller Derby is a non-profit recreational league of women and men who want you to come and check out the fast-paced, hard-hitting game of roller derby. The Conroe Cutthroats practice at Rainbow Roller Rink on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. You can find our game schedule and more information on our website, www.conroerollerderby.com.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Chelsea, and I'm here talking to Connor Fuller. Welcome, Connor. Thank you for taking time out with us.
Thank you for having me, Chelsea.
So I understand you have your own portrait studio, and that's what you do is portraits. But you also are going to teach a workshop in the upcoming PhotoGenesis, right?
Yes, I am. I'm going to be getting to teach about how to properly photograph and handle safely firearms and edged weapons and things like that.
Well, I think that's very smart. Safety is a good idea to teach people. Before we jump in, anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about in PhotoGenesis, we had Steve Kozak on the show about 2 weeks ago, and you can find that whole show in the archives and get really in-depth about what PhotoGenesis is in general. And talking to you, Connor, at first I want to ask just kind of your background. So how did you first become interested in photography, and what made you pursue it as a career?
Well, my mother actually started our studio back in 2004 whenever I was a freshman in high school. And I kind of got into it just trying to make some extra cash on the side. And after high school, life didn't go as planned, and I ended up working at the studio and just found a passion for it and a knack, I guess.
You know, I've heard that several times from other photographers. Their parents were into it, and they tried to fight it. They tried to get away from it, and it just, photography brings you back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think that's great that at least you had somebody to guide you along the way and kind of, I don't know, somebody to grow with.
Yeah, it has definitely been a very huge benefit on my end, having somebody that can sit here and give me an honest feedback on things I'm doing. Like, hey, that sucks. Quit doing that.
Yeah, that's nice to have honest feedback, because sometimes people just want to be nice. So what have you done over the years to build your personal skills and build yourself as a photographer?
Texas School of Professional Photography has been one of the biggest assets in terms of my education. And then just PPA and TPPA, all the different conventions and things like that. And a lot of times, like Imaging USA, we don't even hardly go to the classes, but we get to go and network with all the other photographers there. And that's how we have structured entire price lists and figured out new sets and just a bunch of different things like that.
I think anybody who's listened to my show ever knows that I'm all about networking. And you're right. A lot of times it's not even the event that you were going to. It's the person that you meet next to you that just, you know, says the one thing that clicks the light bulb, you know.
Exactly.
And it really is helpful to go to these things and talk to other photographers and get other perspectives. So right now, are you working towards a degree in your PPA?
Yes, I am. I have my craftsman and my certification, and I'm 4 print merits away from my master's.
Oh, so not that far to go. Pretty close to being a master.
And then, this was the first year I ever went 0 for 4 at imaging, or at IPC, so those 4 are going to be a little elusive, it feels like.
Well, you know what? A lot of the masters, you know, have talked about their journey in print competition and all that, and how, you know, it's not as quick and simple as you would think it would be, and you look at their work and you think they've always been perfection, and, you know, everybody kind of tells you their backstory, and you can see that it's not easy.
Right. Yeah, and I try and explain it to my non-photography friends, and they don't get it. They're like, wait, so did you win? What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's kind of hard to describe to people that aren't in the world.
Yes.
So on a day-to-day basis in your studio, who is your main client?
Mostly families and high school seniors. Those are our 2 big ones.
Is there something that you really love about doing seniors? Is there a reason, like, you don't focus on weddings or pets?
I really enjoy seniors, just a lot of because of the fact that even though a majority of the sessions are the same, you still get a different personality, and they want to let that shine in just about every session. And they always end up bringing in, we had one kid last year who brought his pet. It was like a jaguar or something, but it was legal to have in the state.
Wow.
And, it's just, with seniors, you never really know what to expect to walk through the door. And that's one of the things I love. It kind of keeps me on my toes.
Absolutely. And, that's one... Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
That's one thing I try to get across to people is, a lot of times they'll go and they'll do their yearbook picture somewhere, and that's great, but you need that picture that really shows your personality, because a lot of times people don't know that, who would know you'd have a jaguar at your house or something like that.
Right.
Or that, there's something that you're secretly passionate about. And I love that about senior pictures as well.
Yeah. And the senior portrait game has changed so much just in the last 10 years. When I was in high school, I graduated in 2007, and it was starting to be the trend that it is now. But back then it was, I gave my mom 15 minutes and I used one nice shirt. And now it's kids coming in with suitcases because they want to feel like a model.
Right. When I was a senior in high school, I was working at Sears Portrait Studio, and I think I took my pictures while I was on the clock. And that was it. Like, it was just like a quick little sit down. And now I go back and look at those pictures, and they put like an all over heavy blur on it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, you just lost all detail in it. But, at the time, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're right. It has changed a lot. It's really interesting to watch everything that's changed. So is like showing personality how you got into photographing weapons?
Actually, weapons have been a passion of mine ever since I was little. I always loved the history of just ancient warfare and, the different weapons they would use, and it slowly just bled over into my everyday life. And now I build guns on the side just as something I enjoy doing, and that's when somebody said, "Hey, can you take a picture of my rifle for me? I really want it in my man cave." I said, "Yeah, I guess I can do that." And it just kind of, I had never thought about photographing guns until that point.
Yeah. I think you and my husband need to talk, because he also loves building weapons and rifles, and Lord knows. I actually I have taken one picture of a gun. For my birthday, I guess 2 years ago, my husband gave me a pistol that he had coated Tiffany's blue, the Tiffany's color.
Yeah.
And so I took a picture of that with the bracelet next to it and posted it, and I got quite a few likes on Facebook. But that's the only experience I have with photographing weapons. I don't have much.
Gotcha.
But
yeah.
So, I think that's great that you take something that, is also, you love photography, you love weapons, and, it's found a way to mix together. And I've seen some of your pictures with your friend, right, who is in the military, and he's been a model for you.
Yes.
Is that just a personal thing y'all decided to do together?
Yeah, pretty much. I always call him up whenever he's in town and, say, "Hey, man, can you get your gear and let's go do a photo shoot? I got some ideas in mind." And he uses them for his portfolio. And it kind of just started off as a trade out of, "Hey, I need somebody that can do this, and you need stuff for your portfolio."
Right. I think we all have that friend that we're like, "Hey, I need this. Can you do this for me?" Well, that's fantastic. And they're really, I think they're really emotional pictures, because you can kind of see his history in it and, what's going on. So you said you'd be teaching at PhotoGenesis, the workshop, and it'll have to do with safety. But can you tell us a little more in depth about what it's going to be about?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of be going over the technical side of actually photographing the weapons in terms of, how to handle it, how to have your model handling it, and how to make it as realistic as possible. But also, I'm going to be working on kind of showing a little bit of how I work with my models to get that correct expression and emotion drawn out of them. We're trying to create pieces of art, and they should try to evoke some sort of emotion. And excuse me, sorry. And that's it comes in more than just a blank stare,
right,
or having the right prop or anything like that. There has to be some sort of feeling on the other end of that camera.
Right. And I think it is very important to be able to coach your models on how to handle it, because you see some horrible pictures out there with weapons where people are definitely not being safe.
Yeah.
So I think it is very important to talk to somebody about these are the do's and don'ts, because if somebody doesn't handle weapons on a regular basis, maybe they just don't know. They don't think about it, even if it's not loaded. Don't point it at anybody.
Well, and even, it kind of bleeds over into, we're in Texas, and high school seniors go hunting, and they enjoy having their pictures taken with their guns and stuff. And a few years ago, I ended up almost getting shot by one of these guys because he didn't think about the fact that his 12 gauge was still loaded.
Wow.
And it was aimed in the direction of the camera. And, I finally put my hands on the weapon and found out that, there's a shell in the chamber ready to fire.
Oh, no.
And so after that, I started kind of building my rules of how to photograph weapons, how to be safe with them, and where you still want to be realistic, and you want to make sure that you're following the safety rules of handling a firearm.
Right.
And it's just like photography. You have to know the rules to be able to bend them just a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, I have more questions for you about the models you're going to be working with and what people should bring to your class. But stick with us for a few minutes, and we'll be right back on Aperture and Shutter Speed.
Doing business since 1985, Assistance League of Montgomery County is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization where all proceeds stay in Montgomery County. We are proud to sponsor 10 philanthropic programs that enhance the lives of those in our community. Visit our thrift shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe, or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
At Jazzy Junk, volunteers reclaim, restore, and recycle. Jazzy Junk is a non-profit resale storefront where you will discover wonderful, unique finds at very affordable prices on furniture, antiques, books, art, home decor, and more. When you shop Jazzy Junk, you support New Danville, a community for adults with developmental disabilities. We receive new donations daily, so plan a visit to Jazzy Junk today to find that perfect item or gift. Our motto is here today, gone today. So remember to hurry in and shop often for the best selection. Jazzy Junk is located in the outlets at Conroe on League Line Road and I-45 North. Call 936-441-4500 or visit our website, jazzyjunk.org. That's Junque for more information and store hours.
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial, and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
Hi, I'm Mike Sasser, your host of the Health Hour right here on Lone Star Community Radio. I'd like to invite you to tune in to my live show each Wednesday starting at 1 p.m. I like to say it's an hour of health news you can use. Be a part of the conversation by going to MikeSasser.com and clicking on Contact Mike for my email, Facebook, and Twitter links. The Health Hour with Mike Sasser every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on Lone Star Community Radio, your local source for healthy living.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Chelsea. I'm here talking to Connor Fuller, who is a portrait artist. We were talking about the senior portraits that he does, and we were also talking about the upcoming PhotoGenesis with TPPA, and it's all about photographing weapons. So you said before the break that you are going to be working with models during the workshop, correct?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
So the people coming to the workshop can bring their cameras and get experience working with the models. And what else can people expect at the workshop? What should they bring?
Just a notepad if they want, a camera, and that's just an open mind, open attitude, ready to learn, and kind of handle some firearms and see how we do it. I am not going to ask people to bring their own firearms. I will have them because I want to make sure that they're safety checked well beforehand, and that's why I'm asking people to not bring their own firearm and have out.
Well, I think that's very good to put out there ahead of time. You know, you will provide the firearms. No need to bring them. So really, people just need a camera and a way to take notes. And so what day of the workshop are you, what day of PhotoGenesis is your workshop?
Friday, which I believe is the very first day.
Okay, so people can't come late.
Right. Yeah, you've got to be there on the first day, and it's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we're going to get to have quite a little bit of working with the models and the guns and really go into it and not just have, an hour to get things done. Right.
So I saw that in this month's Texas Professional Photographer magazine, it talks about PhotoGenesis on like the second page, and there's one of your pictures with, I guess, a model with a weapon. So if anybody wanted to see a picture of that, it's there. So, but you're right. You can, capture the emotion because he's kind of, it's not directly looking at the camera. It's not a blank stare. And then I also see your headshot on the next page. So do you do your own headshot or how does that work?
I let my mom do it. So that's always exciting because we always argue about, what our depth of field should be and where the light should be set and all of that sort of stuff.
I struggle with getting my own headshot because I always kind of set everything up, my lighting, everything, and then I usually tell my husband to get on a ladder and take the picture. But, he's not a photographer, so he just kind of, oh, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think that's one thing that's hard for photographers is getting their own headshot just perfect. But you can see everybody's headshot that's going to have workshops at PhotoGenesis in the TPPA magazine. That's online, I think, too, right?
Yeah, and there's it's at tppa.org, and they have their a PhotoGenesis page that has the schedule and all the programs and all of that sort of stuff, and you can register for the hotel right there and everything.
There's a link to that on our Facebook page, too, if anybody just wants to go to Aperture and Shutter Speed's Facebook. So what is your personal website that you want to share with everybody?
Our photography page is fullersphoto.com. Our Facebook is just Fuller's Photography. I say that. It might be Fuller's Photography Studios now that I think about it. I should probably know that, huh? Yeah, it's Fuller's Photography Studios. And if you're an Instagram nut, we're on Instagram at Fuller's Photo. And that's been real big with the high school seniors this year.
I have just started jumping into the world of Instagram, and it's a little bit terrifying. But I'm trying to find the good mix of, professional and, like, here's my crazy family that helps me with everything.
Right. I ended up actually, I have personal pages and I have business pages because I ran into the same problem. We're in a small Southeast Texas town, and occasionally I like to have a glass of whiskey and a cigar, and that's not always acceptable. So I split my separate page to where it's completely private, and I have friends and colleagues on there, mostly other photographers, and that's where, just like with you and me, we'll Facebook message and share ideas and stuff like that on Facebook, and that's about all I use it for.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a struggle with social media, but at least you're out there. And I found you. No, actually,
Yeah.
We met at Texas school this year, but I don't think we remember much of anything after class because class just drained everything from our brain.
Yes.
So what do you think your next personal project will be? If weapons is kind of like what you're focusing on now, will you just keep going down that road and seeing how far it takes you, or do you feel that you're going to have some more projects coming up?
Right now I'm working on a couple of things with weapons. I'm really trying to hone in on the commercial side, and I'd really like to start photographing weapons for money because that would be great. But one of the big things I'm doing right now is I work with a charity organization called Honor and Remember, where they honor fallen soldiers who were killed in combat. And this coming Saturday, we are unveiling a piece of Ground Zero for a memorial in Jasper honoring September 11th, which blows my mind that it was 15 years ago.
I know. I heard that the other day, and I saw something on Facebook that said high school seniors are going in this year, or not seniors, high school freshmen are going in this year, learning about it as a historical event, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't even wrap my mind around that.
The current freshman class, a lot of them were born that year.
Oh, wow.
And it is crazy to me. But we're putting together a documentary. We actually drove from Texas all the way to New York City to pick up a piece of Ground Zero, a piece of steel, and bring it back to Jasper. And I documented the entire thing, and we're going to end up making a coffee table book out of it. And we've got some guys from the FDNY coming down to Jasper next week for the unveil.
Wow, how amazing. So you're definitely going to have to get back with us when that coffee table book's out, because I want to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And, I know there's a lot of different reasons people are in photography, but finding something like this that you truly, can get into and feel like you're doing something that's, I don't know, really worth doing. I love stuff like that. Personal projects and things that make you feel like that are just great. And anyway, okay. I'm getting a little off subject, but I do believe everybody should kind of find their own charity and everything that they really believe in.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been blessed with this ability and this talent to capture emotion and share it with people, and why not give some of that back?
Absolutely. So for anybody who is brand new to photography and they're just looking to get started, what advice do you have to them if they just want to go to PhotoGenesis for the first time? Maybe this is the first workshop they've ever done.
Make sure you go. You show up early, you leave late, and talk to people. The first couple of Texas schools I ever went to, I went to class and I went to my room. And I never saw anybody, I never spoke with anybody, and I just kind of beat-bopped along doing my own thing, which is fine, but you're only going to get so much out of that class Whereas when you go and you start talking to other people and you start kind of networking and meeting and making friends in the industry, you get the opportunity to really continue that education long past just right there in the class.
Right. So, is there one thing that you think you learned that you want to share as like a wisdom for anybody that would really help? You just go to workshops, talk to people, network, and, learn from each other. Is there anything else that you would throw out there as this is the one thing that you should do? TPBA, PBA. I feel like that's what my show's about now. Almost every week I talk about TPBA. Anyway.
The certification class, becoming a certified professional photographer, was one of the absolute most beneficial things for my technical ability that I've ever done. We took the pre-con class in Nashville, and it was a 3-day just crash course into the textbook. But learning that really kind of got me into my ability to walk in and just light something by looking at it and figure out my settings and things like that. It kind of changed everything about how I photographed before and has molded me to where I am now.
So you did take a class, because I know you can go on and you can do the certification, like you can do the certification test without a class, but for most people I've heard from, they wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, it's kind of like anything. You have better chances not going it alone and having somebody that can sit there and help coach you through it. I actually, Joe Glida was in my class, who he's been a commercial photographer for decades, and he had let his certification lapse, and he was in there with his wife, who was taking it for the first time. And it was, even he was sitting there going, "Oh, I completely forgot about that. Oh yeah, how about that? That's awesome." And just little things here and there. Nobody hardly uses film anymore, but I also know now that the same filters that were from film, you can still use now to add or to get rid of color and different things like that,
right,
that I had no idea about beforehand.
Yeah. So, and I think there's going to be a certification class as a pre-imaging, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
You probably don't know, but I've looked at it. There is going to be a certification class. So, there's lots of different ways to jump in and learn about that. If you stick with us, I have a couple more things when we get back from the break, and we'll be right back on Aperture and Shutter Speed.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
Hello, Montgomery County. I'm Rachel Baldwin with Special Olympics Texas, Area 6. Are you a fan of courage? Are you a fan of determination? Are you a fan of acceptance, grace, and skill? Then you're already a fan of Special Olympics. Make it official. Volunteer, coach, and/or compete and be a fan of dignity and acceptance. The dedication of our Special Olympics Texas volunteers provides mainstreaming experiences for athletes with intellectual disabilities. You will touch the heart of another person, and it will move you in a meaningful way that lifts the spirit. Please visit the Heart of East Texas Area 6 webpage at www.sotx.org. Also, like us on Facebook to be a fan and be part of Special Olympics Texas.
Doing business since 1985, Assistance League of Montgomery County is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization where all proceeds stay in Montgomery County. We are proud to sponsor 10 philanthropic programs that enhance the lives of those in our community. Visit our thrift shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Bullying is a big issue in today's schools, and conflict is a big issue in today's world. In order to empower school-age children and help them come up with creative ways to approach conflict and say no to bullies, the Dispute Resolution Center of Montgomery County is hosting a Conflict Resolution Day bookmark art contest for Montgomery County children in grades K through 8. The submission deadline for entries is October 3rd, and an awards ceremony will take place on October 21st. Cash prizes will be awarded. For more information, please visit resolution-center.org.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I am Chelsea Williams, and I've been talking to Connor Fuller. Connor's going to teach a weapons workshop at PhotoGenesis, and he's told us all about that. And you were talking about advocating how important it is to become certified for the PPA. And because we're both members in PPA, I know you get the PPA magazine, right?
Yes.
And so I noticed the cover of the PPA magazine this month is all about drones. It's an aerial photo. It's all about drone photography. And like every couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks, they've been doing webinars about drone photography, where to start, what's legal, all that. So I just wanted your perspective. Do you think drones is something that you would ever jump into?
I've actually been contemplating it over the last couple months. There's a lot of, I guess, red tape because that's sort of the FAA stuff, I guess. And I haven't looked into it too much, but it is something that I've been toying with in the back of my mind, along with the other 1,000 projects I have going on.
Right.
Just adding one more thing to the pot. But there's definitely a massive benefit that I can see there. Just being able to, if you're going to do buildings or even shoot video or anything like that, where drones can make your life so much easier.
Absolutely. And, before you'd have to hire a plane or a helicopter or something, and now, you just buy one drone and it's about the same cost and you can do as much as you want.
Yeah. We photographed our local high school, the actual high school itself, a few years ago on homecoming night. They wanted me to photograph from an airplane, and we circled the school for about 45 minutes waiting on opening kickoff because they wanted that for their boardroom. But the thing with planes is you have to be 1,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And so therefore, if you're trying to get any kind of closer in shot, how do you do that without, going out and renting some massive lens that you can shoot 1,000 feet away or any of that?
Right.
And drones make that entire thing so much easier because you're not having to hang out the window of an airplane and hope you don't fall or any of that.
Yeah, I went out on an aerial shoot. My neighbor, he's a pilot. He owns his own plane, and he also does drones. But he took me out on an aerial shoot a few weeks back, and I think he was kind of laughing at me because I'm, like, hanging out the window, and I'm like, can you bank a little bit so I can get a good shot of this? And, it's tons of fun, but one, fuel is expensive. Like, it would be much cheaper just to use a drone. And I'm looking in the PPA magazine, and they have it laid out, and it says, find your flyer. And so it has a professional section of price points on drones, and it tells you where you can buy them. And so there's one that's $3,500, $5,400, and then it has a budget section. And the budget ones, the cheapest one's like $449. You know, if you were just trying to get in it, you can't get much cheaper than that.
No, I mean, I don't think you can even go out and rent a helicopter and airplane for more than an hour at best for under $500.
Yeah. Because not all of us have neighbors who own airplanes.
Yeah.
But, so, you know, I think that's definitely something that's interesting going on with our industry of, you know, first it was, you know, is this okay? Is it photography? You know, if you're not clicking the picture, which I think people have kind of decided, it's still photography. And it does give an interesting aspect. And I even see people using it for, like, realtors that maybe they have a large estate that they want to show.
Well, and there's even, I mean, it's not a photographer, but contractors now, or even the big-time contractors, are using them so they can show their clients a before and after of the building that went up.
Right.
You know, our same local high school, I walked in to go ask them about if they wanted pictures done, and they said, yeah, our contractor gave us this, and it's this big 40-inch print sitting there that the guy shot with a drone, and he just threw it in because he, I guess, got a drone and felt like it.
Wow.
And I'm going, oh, dadgummit.
You got to watch out for these people. They're inching in.
Yeah.
Well, if you can't beat them, you might as well join them, right?
I know. I guess I just need a tool belt and a hammer, and I'll go to work.
I don't know. It's cool. But I do know that PBA has been doing these webinars, and I haven't set in on one yet, but I'm a little bit interested. And I don't know if really drones is something I would ever truly get into, but I'm very kind of just curious about what's going on and what people are doing with them.
Yeah, and I know that the laws are changing a lot right now around them, just because, like, you can't fly it over football games and stuff like that for interference purposes, but it's all adjusting with the needs, because before you couldn't fly them for professional use unless you had a permit or something. I think you had to have a pilot's license even. Yeah.
And, you know, before, I think the imaging on it was okay for, you know, industrial purposes, like if you're just taking inventory or something. But now the imaging's gotten so much better where it is more of, you know, something somebody would blow up into 40 inches and put on the wall.
Yeah. Then the quality of the cameras that are on them are just gaining more and more ground.
Well, you know, the downside to this is that it gets rid of my excuse to go up in the air, but I think it won't stop me. I think I was hooked from just flying in the airplane. So is that something that you've done? You said you did it for the homecoming deal. Is it something you do on a regular basis, is go up and shoot aerial pictures?
No, God, no. I'm not a fan of flying.
Really?
Unless I have to.
Unless someone's paying you, right?
Right,
right. I'm just the opposite. I would find any excuse to go up. I think it's gorgeous. But, anyway, so I thought that was interesting. And anybody who picks up PPA Magazine can look through the articles because they're actually pretty interesting and everything that's going on. But thanks for humoring me talking about that for a minute. I like to talk to other photographers about what they think about, you know, what's current in the photography world. I do want to thank you for being on with us and tell us one more time what where people can register for the PhotoGenesis and for your workshop.
tppa.org, and you'll go to the PhotoGenesis tab, and that's where you can register for the convention, as well as my class is actually an additional register, but it's going to be worth it, so do it.
Well, that is something that people need to notice. You know, you have to do one more step, so don't slack off on that.
Right.
And then your personal website, you figured out which one it was, right?
Yes. It's fullersphoto.com is our website. And you can find us on Facebook at Fuller's Photography Studios.
And that's with an F,
Instagram
not a PH, right?
Photo. I'm sorry?
That's Fuller's with an F, not a PH, right?
Yes. Yeah, FULLERS.
Okay. So I encourage everybody to check that out. Look at your senior work. Look at your weapons work. Sign up for PhotoGenesis. It's going to be amazing. And maybe people will find you there. Maybe I'll find you at imaging. I'm probably not going to make it to PhotoGenesis, but I'll be at imaging.
It's in San Antonio, so it's close by.
Yes. People don't have any excuse not to go.
Exactly.
I'm pretty excited about it.
It's always a lot of fun. I love San Antonio and the Riverwalk, and then throw in a few thousand photographers, and it just makes for a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. And, photographers can get a little bit wild, but and everybody has a camera, so you got to be careful.
Yes.
But I'm excited about it. I'm really looking forward to imaging this year. Next week, for anybody listening, we're going to have Joe Lepart with Houston Photo Walks. He created this meetup group, Houston Photo Walks, where they go around at different, they just go around to different things. They've been doing night photography in Houston and different fun events. So he's going to be on next week talking all about that. If you like this show and you want to hear more shows, or if you want to hear the show with Steve Kozak all about PhotoGenesis, you can go on irlonestar.com and look in the archives. If you have any questions or comments, go to the Facebook page, Aperture and Shutter Speed. Once again, thank you, Connor, for being on here, and catch us next Tuesday right here on irlonestar.com at 12 o'clock. Until then, keep on shooting.
Thanks for checking out this production on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, internet, and TV media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production, produced by the show host and Dick Schisler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Dick Schisler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.